Hi. So it's been a while since I've made a video on ARK, but there's a reason for that, okay? It's hard to use a keyboard with such short arms. I'm just kidding, guys. In all seriousness, I haven't really had the motivation to play the game because I've played it so much off and on camera, I guess. But I do want to make this video for you guys. It's not a normal theory video explaining ARK's lore or anything fancy and smancy like that, insert explosion. No, this is going to be about everything you need to know in ARK's upcoming TLC pass, covering all of the creatures they've recently released that are coming to the TLC pass, what's going to be happening with them, everything you need to know. And I guess some other... I haven't gotten this far into the script yet. First and foremost, I want to start off with the Triceratops. It's being remodeled, and there's just a whole host of cool things happening to this thing. So you guys are familiar with ARK's current trike. It's nothing too fancy. It's kind of an eyesore, actually, and you really see them everywhere. And even though they make the point of it being a beginner herbivore, I feel like, personally, the trike should be way higher up on the tier, if you know what I mean. This thing is still a hulking beast. It has giant horns on its face, and nothing really screams, "Get away from me," like a face full of horns. So in actuality, I guess the trike is a little bit more than what I kind of let on in the beginning of my whole... Yeah, so anyways, the trike is being shown some love in the very near future, and that comes in the form of the Triceratops, one of the oldest friends and earliest creatures implemented into the game. We'll be receiving both a gameplay update and a visual update, including facial changes plus a reskin. Generally, in terms of gameplay, they felt the trike was in a relatively good place. I didn't. I hate the trike personally. Playing with it, it's slow, it's clunky, it doesn't feel... It feels like you're trying to drift a bus, basically. But they felt it was relatively in a good place in regards to how much benefit it provided versus how difficult it was to obtain. They clearly haven't played their own game. The trike is a pain in the butt to tame on official servers. It takes hours upon hours. If you're just starting out in the game using berries, it takes hours and hours and hours. Play your game before you make your statements, good sir. Thank you. At least that's what I played like last year, so I could be completely invalid in this. But anyways, as an early game herbivore, they didn't want to do a complete redesign. However, it was clear to them that there was some very obvious changes they needed to make. So the Triceratops is going to get an ability to perform a charge. Actually, much like the Rhino in my opinion. It has a short wind-up time to notify that the trike is preparing to charge, and then the attack will build speed and damage during the wind-up, which then transfers into increased damage and ends in a ram attack, which will knock targets back and can leave them stunned for a short period of time. Now, I actually caught wind. This was originally supposed to be like a skewer attack, but I mean, we've seen how shoddy the quote-unquote skewer attacks, I guess, are on other creatures, and how cool and amazing and realistic those look. Yeah, not at all. I'm glad they're not doing that, because I really don't like how half-assedly it's put together. But no, they go on to say, additionally, its herding instincts will be improved, resulting in 2 changes. A rivalry buff, which will be applied to all nearby ally Triceratops when in range of larger theropods and carnivores, that will increase their stats and damage equal to mate boost. It will also increase the wild Triceratops' aggro notification range by twice, so that other trikes are more likely to come to its aid. That's gonna be a pain in the ass. That is going to be a giant pain in the ass. But I guess if you're farming meat and hide, and you're on a really powerful Rex, obviously, it's going to be a good thing, more or less. But no, they originally, what I had heard from behind the scenes, I'm not going to name any people, but they were supposed to have like a skewer attack where you would literally puncture through the creature you were attacking, like maybe a Rex, for instance. You would charge it, and, you know, bam, just gave you a suppository. And you have colon cancer or something like that, you know, and that's basically how that worked, but I guess they've changed that around. So next up, we move into everyone's favorite feathered little creature, the dodo. Yes, you might not have known it, but the dodo is actually getting a pass in the TLC. Just kidding. The dodo doesn't need to exist. We all know. No TLC pass for that. I'm just totally messing with you. It's the RG. The RG is going to get a crazy, lovely pass. Changing its feathers, a little bit of the model, the animation, all that fun stuff. And I mean, it's one of our favorite flying creatures post flying nerf and stuff. Because, well, the flying nerf happened, obviously. Either way, when it comes down to the RG and the bonuses this thing will get, well, here's what the devs had to say. The RG has long since been a favorite flyer to many, myself included actually. With its high health, weight, and stamina, it's an essential air mount that will now be getting a little bit more love. The Dino TLC will grant the RG a new saddle that will receive reduced weight capability on obsidian and various other materials, and the ability to craft smithy items within the saddle. So that right there on the, no, that's like, I'm foaming at the mouth right now and I can't even make a coherent sentence. Like my, now right hemisphere, my brain's lighting up, left hemisphere is blowing up. I just said I have a brain, which obviously I don't, but like, back on to the topic at hand. The RG can already carry a decent amount of weight. Having a saddle that will reduce the weight or the total weight of whatever else is put into it is amazing. If that's what they're doing, if that's reduced weight capabilities on obsidian, yeah, like to me that means a 10-pound piece of obsidian will weigh like maybe 5 pounds. Therefore, you could double what you could put into your RG and fly back and forth to your base and do all kinds of. No, that would be amazing. So right off the bat, not only is the model going to look incredibly good, we're going to be getting some really nice perks. So all of you farmers out there that actually go out for your tribes and get all the stuff, well, you can actually get way more stuff now once this is actually put into the game. Moving on, they said the RG will now be able to carry 2 additional passengers, one with its claws and one in its beak. Wow, that's scary. That's terrifying. That's who the hell would want to get ridden? Who would want to ride an RG like that in its beak? What if it gets uppercutted by a T-Rex and you get split in half? What if you run? What if you fly face first into a cliffside? That's bad time all around. Oh, either way, the RG will be carrying heavier than current creatures in its talons, while its beak will be able to support the weight of smaller creatures. So, moving right into that, I'm assuming a smaller creature would count as like a human. Or, okay, it'd be kind of cute to have a dodo in there, I guess, and then you can eat the dodo as a snack along the way, kind of like a Snickers or something. You know, keep your RG the way it should. But yeah, either way, lastly, upon consuming a corpse, the RG will receive rapid health regeneration, making this vulture a formidable aerial tank. So that's really good. I like this idea of rapid health regeneration because we all know how much of a pain it can be when you cannot heal your creature, or you have to hold down on E with lots of stacks of meat in it and heal it that way. But that's part of ARK and their original idea and mindset of just, oh, we gotta make it, you know, have time stuff and restrictions, so we're gonna make the dinosaurs heal super slow, and that way you can't take your favorite Rex out for hours and hours and hours and not have to worry about it dying. That's the whole idea behind that, but it seems like they're scrapping that idea because it's more of like an inconvenience for the players than it was anything that benefited the game. I never saw a point in it, at least. And then we move into our second last creature, the Spinosaurus. Now, the Spino is getting a major overhaul as well as quadrupedal and bipedal stances. Now, I would argue that the Spino is going to get the biggest TLC pass of all the creatures. Currently, I think ARK Spino and its movement is a complete and total abomination for what this creature could really be when it comes to its true size and how menacing it actually is. Right now, it runs like an oversized, awkward dog, I guess, in a sense. And that's just the way I see it. The reason why I don't use the Spino is because I hate the animation. I hate how it runs like a dog. It should not be on 4 legs like that. I don't care how scientifically accurate that is, When I hear Spino, I think of the Spino from Jurassic Park. Yeah, that's what I think of, that giant bad boy standing on 2 legs. Well, the Spino is getting the biggest TLC pass in the way of animations because it will be getting bipedal and quadrupedal stances for people that like it being on all 4s and people who like it being on all 2s. What? All 2s? Did I say that right? I messed that up. Anyways, while it might not be able to do as much damage as the Rex, the animation in my mind is going to totally make up for it. Which, by the way, to my knowledge, Rex has a infinitely higher bite force than the Spino. Therefore, the Spino should not have defeated Rexy. Well, not Rexy, but the Rex in Jurassic Park. Anyways, I'm rambling. I need to stop rambling. Get on with the video. Let's continue on. So, the Spinosaur has been hotly debated with its quadrupedal stance when it first joined, and ever since. Those for the stance enjoyed its dog-like run, while those against it felt like it was not true to the real-world version of the dino. With the TLC pass, the Spinosaurus will now be able to operate in both bipedal and quadrupedal stance. While on 2 legs, the Spino will move slower, but be able to bite and use its claws to do increased damage. While on 4, it will be able to move faster. Due to its affinity to water, the Spino will receive buffs which apply a bonus to movement speed, turn radius, attack damage, and a health regen while fighting in water, and will last for some time after exiting the water. It will also prefer prime fish for taming over prime meat, and have an increased chance of gathering prime fish meat. So right off the bat, we have some major bonuses. Not only the animation, but what this thing is going to do for you and your tribe. It's going to be amazing, more or less. They're going to make the Spino really shine in the TLC patch once they release it. Not only aesthetically, physically with its features and how it looks and the higher detail of this, but the overall, like, I have a Spino now, and here's what it does for me. Going to be amazing. I just don't know if I'd want to take a Spino into an ocean with the Moses and those giant squid things that I can't pronounce. The ta. Yeah, that thing. Probably don't want to try and take on one of those with the Spino, but otherwise, I think you'll be perfectly fine trying to kill anything else. All the baryonyx are dead. I know. Baryonyx is dead. And finally, the Sarco, which I know the Raptor also had a TLC pass. It gets a latch and some other cool stuff. But to be honest with you, I've already spent a lot of time on this video, and I feel like I deserve to finish doing the video, cause stuff. So the creature that I literally have never ever tamed in ARK is getting a TLC pass. Now, why have I never tamed a Sarco? Because they are literally useless for me. At least the way that I see them. They're very slow on land. They're not really the strongest creature in my opinion. And in water, I mean, sure, they're fast, but you don't really get much of a benefit from having a Sarco. Right now in the base game, it doesn't even look that good, to be honest with you. It's nothing. It's kind of just like one of those spare Legos you throw in, you know, because you just had it laying around. So you're like, maybe someday I'll find a use for it, and you never really do use it. That's the way I view the Sarco. Now, the Sarco itself, however, is going to get a major pass as well. Not only aesthetically, but the abilities that it will have are going to be some of the best brought to the game. So, when it comes to the Sarco has been an often requested creature to receive a TLC pass. One of the earlier creatures added to the game. Over time, it has become overshadowed by other predators. On top of its visual update, the Sarco will also be receiving new abilities to keep better in line with the other carnivorous creatures of the ARK. The Sarco will be given 3 new attacks. A grab and roll attack, also known as a death roll. With smaller creatures, the Sarco will be able to grab and roll with them in its mouth, while with larger creatures it will grab and it will spin aggressively. A 180-degree attack where it can attack something directly behind itself by swinging its body around and biting behind itself. A short lunge attack where it'll be able to lunge forward to take prey by surprise. Now, the Sarco is a natural deterrent for piranhas, making them valuable partners when traveling through waterways and swamps. The Sarco also prefers fish meats over regular meat for taming, and when idle, will rest with its mouth open and a permanent toothy grin. So yeah, the Sarco, I guess in a sense, I never really thought of it being used as like a piranha deterrent per se. Like, I never really got to that level of the game where like I'd be worried about piranhas, because like usually I have, you know, a flying creature at that point where I can bypass piranhas entirely. So I can kind of see the benefit, but I'm never going to understand the teeth on the very end of the snout for the old model. I'll never understand that or the idea behind that. It's still cool either way to try and take these older creatures and kind of like refurbish them and recycle them into something newer and even better for the players, because technically, guys, they don't even need to do this stuff. They've made their money. They can move away from ARK and do whatever they want, but they're going back and they're making something that they made before even better. And this isn't a cheap feat. Just so you know, this is not something that's cheap. This is costing them probably tens of thousands of dollars to redo all of these creatures, along with the creatures that we just had done. Like, they need to have their modelers and animators look over the creatures again, repair things, spend countless hours painting on textures, doing different things. Like, this isn't just a game update. This is actually a costly expense for the ARK devs to go into. They could have just said, screw it, who cares about the Trach, the Sarco, the Dire Bear, who cares about any of that stuff? You know, they have it, they're happy with it, and so on and so forth, more or less. So, I mean, in that right, you know, hats off to them. Like, seriously, that's a respectable thing for a game developer to do. They didn't just leave us with outdated content. They're going to update it. The Rex looks beautiful now. I bet the Rex costs a lot of money to refurbish and remake into this really nice, crisp-looking terror machine of eating and sadness and like, I don't know. It's just one of those creatures that you want to be the staple of the game. You don't want it to look like a can of crushed assholes and market that as like bakery fresh cinnamon buns. No, you want to have what you have and make it look the best you can, more or less. So yes, this took thousands of dollars at the very, very minimum. But guys, that is it for the ARK TLC stuff that you need to know. Like I said, the Raptor basically just gets the latch, and I don't want to go into that. And I'm sure, like, you know, 90% of what's in this video anyways beforehand. But guys, like I said, that's it. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. I spent a ton of time working on this video. And, well, you guys usually go out anyways on the like, so I'm not even gonna... Please leave a like. Why do I sound like Donald Trump? What the hell's wrong with me? Oh, well. Anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video. Maybe not. I don't know. You should subscribe anyways. Unless you're not going to watch the videos, in which case, you know, you can watch anyways. I don't know. Take it easy.